Election Commission convened on Wednesday, May 20th at 4 o'clock. If there's no objection from the members, I submit for the minutes that the Election Commission that this meeting is being held electronically to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the participants in the COVID-19 pandemic. We're going to call the roll, and please acknowledge that your name is called and that you can hear the other members of the board of the commission. So this is Robert Brown. Dana?
I'm here and I can hear you.
Phyllis?
Phyllis Strive, present. I can hear you.
Jonathan Duda?
Yeah, Jonathan Duda present as well, and I can hear as well.
And Kim Henke, are you on, Kim?
I'm here now.
Oh, great. Calling user for, okay, so we have a forum, everyone is in attendance. Prior to making a motion or a second or asking a question or making a comment, please state your name for the meeting. Okay, meeting is in order. First thing I'd like to do, we have a guest. I'd like to suspend the order and ask Robert Burrell to please, Chad, do you want to discuss that first, or you want to let Mr. Burrell speak?
I'm not sure if he wanted to speak. He wanted to have the opportunity to speak, but I'll leave that up to him.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and esteemed commissioners and Mr. Gray. I appreciate your time this afternoon. I'm here representing Better Nolensville and the thousands of people who have signed a petition hoping to change our charter in the town, potentially, or at least have a vote for that. And I am here to answer any questions you may have pertaining to it or our positions on it.
Okay. We're considering under new business item 3 right now. We're arranging for our guest the agenda. And the item is to consider the petitions and signatures of qualified voters in the town of Nolensville, along with other supporting documents, in order to hold a referendum to adopt a city manager commission charter for the town of Nolensville and place the measure on the August 6, 2020 county general election ballot pursuant to TCA 6-18-104A and TCA 2-1-104. Chad, do you have any further comments?
I forwarded you all the documents. The group was required to get 33 1/3% of the registered voters of the town to sign a petition regarding this matter. They provided a list of the qualified voters and also a plan of services and a public hearing. Actually, there were 2, but the first public hearing, I believe, was held, according to the newspaper, on Friday, May 8th at 7 p.m. So by law, we're just required to see or know that they held or published notice of a public hearing. So I think that's it from me at the moment.
And they have submitted the signatures, and our office has checked those signatures against the voter rolls.
That is correct. They had more than they needed. The required number was 2670, so they exceeded the number of signatures required.
Okay. Any other questions for Chad or Mr. Burrell?
We have all of our supporting documents, everything we need for that, Chad.
That is correct. And I've worked with Assistant Coordinator of Elections, Beth Henry Robertson, on this since March. So she's been assisting along the way with making sure that we do what we're supposed to on our end to make sure everything's in order.
We've cleared all that with Beth.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, I do have a question for Mr. Cook
All right, this is
or yourself.
Commissioner Duda. If y'all would, I think we're supposed
Yeah.
to say our name before we ask questions.
Sorry, Jonathan Duda, Commissioner. I have a question for Mr. Cook or yourself, Chairman, if that's appropriate. The question is, in what form of a motion are you, would be in proper order with the agenda saying we consider the petition of signatures? Is there a expected action of this commission? Are we accepting or are we certifying or what is the proper posture?
Yeah, that we've received a petition. We would be voting that we've received the petition. All the supporting documents are in order. Signatures have been submitted and achieved, and that we will move to hold the referendum on the August 6, 2020 county general election ballot. So everything in point 3, we will have to have a motion, a second, and a vote on.
I'm prepared to make that motion unless there's other questions, comments, whenever
Jonathan,
you're ready, Chair.
Jonathan, state your name before you make a motion.
Thank you. I will. This is Jonathan Duda, Commissioner. I'm going to make a motion that we have accepted the petition of signatures of qualified voters in the town of Nolensville, along with accepted the supporting documents in order to hold a referendum to adopt a city manager commission charter for the town of Nolensville, and that we place the measure on the August 6, 2020 county general election ballot pursuant to TCA section 618-104 sub A and TCA section 21104.
Okay, we have a motion on the table for Mr. Duda. If there's a second, please state your name.
Phyllis Strife, I second.
Okay, we have the motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll take a roll call vote. Dana Smith,
Dana Smith, and I vote yes.
Phyllis Strife,
Phyllis Strife, yes.
Kim Hinkie,
Kim Hickey, aye.
and Jonathan Duda.
Jonathan Duda, aye.
And Robert Brown, the chair, votes aye as well. The motion carries 5-0. Is there anything further on that, Chad, that we need to discuss, or?
The attorney for the town of Nolensville's on the line. I'm not sure if he wanted to say anything to that effect or not.
And who is that?
Yes, I would if I could. Am I double echoing?
Yes.
I think the problem is I'm signed in twice.
Yeah. Why don't you mute one of them?
Okay.
Now, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I don't know if the host can knock out one of those or not.
Chad, you're the host of the meeting.
Let me see if I can knock one out. Just a minute.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, Bob, note
Yeah.
sign, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, I guess it didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know how to get rid of the double appearance.
Well, Bob, why don't you go ahead and speak slowly? I think that'll work.
Yeah, I am the town attorney. Been there a long time. The town has not taken any formal stance on the process because this is a private citizen effort. And that's not really why I'm here. I'm here because I understand the ballot would just have one question on it. That is to adopt a city manager commission charter. And I wanted everyone to be aware that both myself and an attorney with the Municipal Technical Advisory Service have advised the town that we believe there needs to be two questions. Our charter, current charter requires surrender of a charter. And then we see a separate question, the adoption of a city manager commission form. And my understanding is there's just going to be one question. And I don't know how that's being handled or who makes that decision. I think the Secretary of State has stated there is a statute, and I have it in front of me, that says that on adoption of a city manager commission charter, the old one just is null and void. But it's been our opinion that that does not affect the existing charter, that you could end up with two charters for the same municipality. And that's our
Did you
concern.
discuss that with the Beth Henry Robinson, with the state election office?
We did, and we had a nice discussion and mutually agreed to disagree on that. I suspect the town will probably get a third party attorney opinion on that in the near future.
And Brad, what has Beth Henry Robinson suggested to us that we do?
Well, according to Beth, we are statutorily required, if the group has followed all of what they need to do by code, this is kind of what we have to do. So we have to follow through with the process. We're just sort of that's my understanding from all the correspondence. So I'm not sure if Bobby Cook has anything to say to this effect, but I will remind the board that our window for printing ballots for the election is rapidly disappearing. Ballots to military and overseas voters must be sent out by federal law no later than June 22nd. So we're going to need to try to, come to some solution around this fairly quickly if we're going to be able to meet the legal deadlines that are required for us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Bobby Cook. Chad is correct. There is no, you're not making any sort of legal determination on how many questions will be on the ballot. You've taken your action already, setting it for the August, which is what you needed to do. So the question of the actual wording of the ballot is not before you today.
Okay. That's helpful.
Anything else, Mr. Burrell?
Yeah, if I could, our Better Knowledge's position on this has been that the charter that we're adopting under 618-107 states that upon adoption of this charter, and thereupon any existing charter of such city shall immediately become abrogated and null. And due to that, we are under the belief that if we pass this referendum, that it would render the fair automatic charter null and abrogated. In addition to that, there's the question of if we had two separate questions, what would we do if the vote to surrender happened, but then the passage of the city manager commission question, or sorry, if the first question to surrender did not pass, but the second question of adopting the city manager commission charter did pass, then which vote is supposed to take precedence in that? I think there would be a lot of legal issues around that potential result, and that would be a possibility if there are two separate questions. In addition to that, if that were to happen, you have to make a decision and say, okay, well, the second question doesn't matter. It says that, we didn't want to surrender the original charter. Well, then that means the second question didn't matter in the first place. And if you say that the second question takes precedence over the first one, then it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter if the first one is there. So I think it makes better sense from a legal perspective to have it as one question, and that's been our position all along.
Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to add to the discussion? Attorney for
Mr. Chair, we're certainly not going to debate it here, but I think our problem is the Nolensville Charter has a surrender provision, and your charter for a town is like your constitution. And when our constitution says you've got to surrender and then adopt a new form of government, these two statutes and two documents are not lining up. And so there is a problem. It's going to be a problem with the language. And the worst case scenario would be to have this pass and then have a court determine that Nolensville's old charter is still in effect. And you got two charters, and that is a possibility.
Well, we're, as the commission, our job is really administrative. We're not the ones that should be determining this. We're going to take our instructions from the state election commission and the attorneys that we rely on, as well as our attorney, Mr. Cook. So it'd be great if all those parties aligned, so there would be no challenge in court. But that's not really our call. So I'm assuming Chad will be heavily dependent upon the state attorney to guide us on how to word the question. And looks like we're going to have to do that within the next couple weeks. So I don't know if what the parties all want to do, get together and agree on anything or not, but ours is an administrative function. We're going to take our cues from the state attorney, and I would expect, unless a judge intervenes, we're going to have to do it as the state instructs us to do it.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any further discussion on this issue of the town of Nolensville?
Mr. Chairman, I've got the sample wording, but I may bounce this off of Bobby Cook, but it's something that's provided, and I provided it to the city attorney for the town of Nolensville. So I'm not sure if the wording needs to be discussed at this particular moment or not.
Yeah, why don't you make sure Bobby Cook's okay with the wording, as well as the state election office, and I don't want, probably best for us not to make a determination until all those parties have agreed.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, seeing no further questions, you guys are welcome to stay on the call, or you're welcome to leave, whatever you prefer. I would ask you to mute your microphone though. Going back to the beginning of the agenda, Under old business, approve the minutes from May 11th. We're going to defer that until the next meeting. Under new business, the next item is to approve early voting locations and hours for the upcoming August 6th, 2020 federal and state primary and county general election. Chad has distributed to us that list. Chad, do you want to go over that?
Sure, I'll go over that with you for the record and for the minutes. We have secured the agreement from Williamson County Parks and Recreation to use several of their facilities for the upcoming early voting period. I want to sort of mention that currently the facilities are under very different hours than they normally would be under a normal circumstance, and therefore I pushed the hours on Saturday to 8 to noon because the facilities are only open till noon on Saturdays. So I know we had wanted to try to do till 2 o'clock on Saturdays, but I'm not sure if we can commit to that if we don't know if the facility is going to be open or not.
Yeah.
So, but the Brentwood Library is on board. I will say that in my discussions with Gordon Hampton, who's over Parks and Recreation, that the rooms at Fairview and Nolensville that we used before will be their intent is for us to use those locations again. So those securing a larger space in those two locations appears to be not on the table at the moment. So that's where we are at this time.
So in essence, when you compare the current proposal to previous August elections, we're adding an additional Franklin location. So we'll have 2 Franklin locations in addition to the administrative complex on West Main. We'll have the Franklin Recreational Complex. And instead of having the Nolensville, Spring Hill, Thompson Station, Fairview only open the last week, we're going to go ahead and open those to the full early voting period. And the reasoning behind this is to allow more space in voting and give more safety precautions in place for the voting. So we're expanding hours a bit in our satellites than we normally do in August, and we're adding additional locations to hopefully spread the voters out more, which is probably, when you add it all up, it's probably about double the satellite early voting hours that we normally propose in an August election. Does that sound about right to you, Chad?
I think so. I would agree with that.
Okay. So I guess we really need to break up this approval into the hours first. Since we already approved that, we need to amend that one from the previous meeting, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, we only approved the hours for election day last meeting. So we
Okay.
haven't done any early voting hours.
Okay, so I guess we could do all this in one motion then. Anyone want to make an attempt to make a motion on this one?
This is Commissioner Jonathan Duda. I move that we approve the early voting locations and hours for the upcoming August 6, 2020 federal and state primary and county general election as provided by the election administrator to the commission today.
Go ahead and list
Kim
those out in
Hinkey.
your motion.
Phyllis Scribe, second.
I'll, if Chair, if you please, I'll continue the motion. Jonathan Duda to name the locations Franklin, Williamson County Administrative Complex, and Franklin Recreation Complex locations. Brentwood, the John P. Holt Brentwood Library location, Fairview Recreation Center location, and Nolensville Recreation Center, Spring Hill Thompson Station location, the Longview Recreation Center. Those be the locations, and the hours be for all locations 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday.
We have a
Yep.
motion from Commissioner Duda and a second from Commissioner Strife.
Correct.
Is there any further discussion?
I would just add that the dates are July 17th through August 1st. Dana Smith.
Noted.
Dana?
Jonathan Duda, Chairman, or Commissioner Chairman, if you will, I'll amend my motion to include the dates July 17th through August 1st.
So noted. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's take a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Strife,
Strife, yes.
Commissioner Hinkie, I don't hear anything from Commissioner Hinkie. Is it just me? We'll have a abstain from Commissioner Hinkie. Commissioner Duda,
Jonathan Duda, aye.
just got a note that Ms. Hinkie got kicked off from on the chat there. So she is voting aye in the chat. I don't know whether we can accept that.
No, Mr. Chairman, she will be counted as absent.
Okay, so we will, the motion carries 4-0 with a abstention from Commissioner Hinkie. Okay, next item under the new business is to review the site plan and renovation plan of the building, which is to occupy the new election commission office on Downs Boulevard. I believe, Chad, you sent that out?
That is correct, and I believe Kevin Benson is on the line as well to answer any questions about the layout. Myself and Evelyn Watson went over a couple of weeks ago to look at some things in person, and we're satisfied with the layout.
Chad, do you need a motion from the commission on this, or are you just informing us?
Well, I wanted you all to be satisfied. You know, we've wanted this space for a long time, and I wanted you all to make sure that you were comfortable with the arrangement, especially surrounding the what we intend to do on voter tabulation and all that sort of stuff. I will point out that there is an area on the rear entrance of the building from the parking lot that's earmarked for storage, but that is not part of that's part of the plan, but that is not going to be constructed at the present moment.
I had a question. Did you check about the upper floor that's sort of off limits for everybody for storage? The one that's closed up over the center of the building? It seems to me that would be much safer than at the back to that entrance and exit door.
If Kevin's on the line, I believe that was not practical for their purposes of the structure. The area over where we plan to have early voting and everything.
No, you're talking about the center of the downstairs part. I'm talking about upstairs. We were told it was just dead space.
From my understanding, we're going to have shelving put in there that will go up to where, as far as it can go, not to interfere with any sort of fire control sprinkler type system.
So that it would not be protected? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, it's in the Bay Area of the current where the fire trucks are being stored. Is that the area you're talking about?
No, we talked about that initially from the back entrance parking lot. But then later, he said there was space all across the top of the building that could be used with shelving. And that would be out of the realm of people getting there and more protected, I would think. I think you need to question that.
Is Kevin on the line still, or?
Someone else just joined, might want to ask that question again.
Kevin?
This is Kevin Benson. I had dropped off. I'm back on now.
Okay, Kevin, one of the commissioners had a question about some storage areas. Phyllis, do you want to elaborate on that for him?
When you come in the front door and there's that big entranceway and social type room, upstairs over that, can we not utilize that space for storage, for security?
There is no second floor. There is no upstairs, ma'am.
Well, it wouldn't be for the public. It would just be for storage, like an attic, a glorified attic we could walk around in.
That would have to be looked at as far as the budget. There is always possibilities as long as we stay within the budget.
Well,
But if we had access normally to a second floor, I would let you know that we have to provide ADA. So that would be an additional cost, because if we had an employee that required ADA, we would have to have an elevator there to provide them access to that. So we have to take that all into consideration at this time.
I understand that, but I still think that it would be much more secure than in the back. Are you still planning to build the shelving in the back as you come in from the parking lot?
Yes, we have storage. We have two full days and a half of storage in the back of the facility that we will be utilizing, which is more storage than we have currently right now for all of your equipment. And then we could possibly add an outbuilding if needed for those things that were not a sensitive, secure requirement. We'd have to take a look at that as we move forward.
Okay, that would be my only question and concern.
Chairman, this is Jonathan. I've got a few questions for Kevin. First, I apologize. I'm kind of a newer member. If the original concept and plans were developed and presented and discussed before, I am looking at this fresh, so I just want to recognize that. But is the primary entrance the front of the building that faces Downs Boulevard, or is it the rear? Or is it the side?
This is Kevin. The primary entrance will be from the rear for the public. It will be from the front for all employees, and then it will be for the side for those that are just coming to register to vote on a daily basis when it's a non-voting period. We will provide ample ADA parking and access wide enough in the back of the facility during the maximum voting times, and also have that hallway wide enough to provide public restrooms for the public as well.
Okay. For the daily interaction of Joe voter or Jane voter coming to visit Chad and the employees. They will be directed by signage, I assume, or other to enter on the side. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that would be the primary location. However, if it was an ADA individual, then we would have to provide access to the normal back of the facility, the main entrance for the public for that type of individual if required.
Okay, so they enter into a hallway, is that correct? On the side?
No, sir. As they enter immediately, they almost immediately to their left would look at the counter, reception counter, where I believe Chad could tell you he wanted to leave that there. We'll add an ADA spot for that as well, but that's the registration and the normal place for interaction between the public and the elections employees.
Okay.
Is
Go
there,
ahead.
excuse me, is there a public restroom in that side entrance door?
They would have access to a restroom there and access to the public restroom. They'll be able to go through and link up with that other hallway where the larger public restrooms are, so they'll have access to those.
Oh, great. 2 of them. That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Additionally, then, if somebody enters through the front entrance that is the employee, as you said, entrance or the main area, is it intended that that door always be secure and locked with directions to re-enter on the side?
It currently is. It has got current access control with a cat card, and that will remain in place. Employees will have a card issued and access to that facility at that location.
Okay. And am I understanding, Chad, that your offices are, the offices of all staff really are at that, what I would call northwest bay?
No, well, our offices are on the Downs Boulevard side to the, if you're looking at the diagram, it's going to be on the, I'm trying to get my directions over there. I guess that would be would that be the south east corner? If you're facing the building, it's on the right-hand side.
I'm just envisioning how if somebody does come for ADA on a regular day, comes up to that front entrance door that is locked, has a keypad, maybe has the ability to communicate with staff, what is the flow of bringing that person into the building? And I'm trying to understand that flow.
Okay, this is Kevin speaking. Let's go over from the very front of the building. There is an intent to have a gate there, a sliding secure gate, and employee entrance only into that area. So that would be where employees park in a secure area, and they would have access to the front through cat card access. The normal operation, day-to-day operations for the normal voter for registration, questions, so on and so forth, would be the side entrance. The current elevation of that side door does not allow for an ADA ramp there. It just won't fit. So we'll have to have signage that will direct those that with an ADA and needing assistance to go to the back of the facility where the main entrance actually is during voting time. At that point, there would be ADA access, doors access, and the hallways wide enough for the wheelchair access for them to enter the facility and conduct their business. Does that kind of clarify that for you?
It absolutely clarifies it. I did not know there was a gate, security gate that cuts off that front area. And secondly, that the ADA servicing in the back is in fact what is going to service ADA flow into that main entrance in the back. So yes, that absolutely addresses my comments. Thank you.
Other comments, questions?
This is Dana Smith. I have two questions. So the first one is down where it says day room. Is that actually the rescue side?
Ma'am, this is Kevin speaking. Was that
Yes.
question? There's a day, is there a day room?
Yes, it says it on the
Yes,
little.
there is actually two day rooms. There will be a day room for the rescue squad side. That will be designated separated, nothing to do with the voting side. And then
Right.
the current captain's location will be a meeting room. And then beyond that, as you go beyond that, where it's a current mechanical room where they store equipment and tools and so on and so forth. I believe that, and I don't have that directly in front of me. C&I, if they're monitoring, will probably be able to clarify that, but that is the day room location for employees.
Okay. Then my other question is there going to be a glass place to watch the returns?
Yes, that's in the blueprints. Basically, where Chad's office area is there on the northwest corner of the facility, and then you have the large voting room area. There is an intent to have a glass window there to serve exactly that required purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Will Chad have a window in his immediate office?
I will have an outside window.
You're getting up in the world, Chad.
Okay, any
Thank you.
further questions or comments?
No, thank you all for indulging my questions. Kevin, thank you for being available to walk through this. And Chad and Emily, I know you've put a lot of work into this. We're excited to see this project move forward. I, as a commissioner, just want to say you're serving our resident and citizens well of Williamson County by this project. Thank you.
We're in dire need of it. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, well, that concludes our agenda. Are there any other new business items to bring before the commission at this time?
Well, I guess we need to discuss when you all want to reconvene. We'll need to lock the boxes and appoint the poll officials next. So we are working on coming up with a plan maybe to better organize our absentee ballots for the election. So we're trying to maybe get different ballot boxes to organize that prior to a little bit better. We've already received almost 200 requests for voting by mail, and we started receiving them on the 8th of May. So we anticipate it's going to become a lot more as we go forward.
Chad, is there any update on the lawsuits for August voting?
I think there is a hearing maybe Friday. It's towards the end of this month. I may be wrong about the date, but I haven't heard anything more. I just know that there are 3 different lawsuits now pertaining to absentee by mail voting.
So what week do you propose we get together?
One other item I wanted to mention, there is, since the seminar is not taking place, there is going to be some training for election commissioners in June, but I do not know the date yet. So I will keep you posted. But we probably need to do the lock the boxes and appoint the workers, I'd say probably the 2nd or 3rd week of June. I'm not sure if you all have summer travel plans or what, but.
Chad, this is Dana. Have you gotten any response back from the letter y'all sent to poll workers?
We've gotten there's been several returned. I'd say close to a third are choosing not to work for us. But we've had a good many return that say they do want to work at the polls. We've had more say yes, they want to work than no, they do not.
That's good news.
Will you be able to fill those slots?
Well, under vote centers, we've got a little bit more wiggle room than we used to have, but we're certainly going to hit it hard. But the next few weeks are going to be, we're really going to have to try to figure this out, and that's another thing I wanted to give us ample enough time to get all of this in order for you all to approve the poll officials. So that's that's kind of where we are right now.
Well, it seems then we probably should shoot for the third week of June. Does Tuesday the 16th work for everybody?
Make it work.
Tuesday at the 16th at 4 o'clock?
Yes, for Dana.
Yes, Phyllis.
Yes, Jonathan.
Yes, Kim.
Oh, Kim, you're back.
I'm back. There were a lot
Welcome.
of audio problems today.
Okay. So we will meet Tuesday. Now we have to lock the boxes. So do you want to meet in person?
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit more involved than usual, probably. And to be quite honest, if you all want, we might need to meet at the historic courthouse, because I think that's where we're going to need to put all these boxes. Is
Okay.
that acceptable to everyone, or?
Sure, you tell us.
We'll make it work, but where are you talking about again?
In the historic courthouse on the square, we're using that as our kind of our absentee ballot operations
Yeah, I
center.
got you. It's still on.
So otherwise, we're going to have boxes sitting all in our way here.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure the 2 key bearers are there as well.
So you want us at 4
Yep,
o'clock?
that date's fine.
Okay, 4 o'clock at the historic courthouse.
Yes, and I'll just meet you all at the front door, the front of the building. You can park in the 4th Avenue garage or wherever you can find a place.
Okay, any other business?
I wanted to let you all know that Rachel Fitzgerald, who was one of our full-time staff, she has left our employment. She's gone to a different opportunity back in banking. So we have posted a position on the county website for a position in the office to replace her absence.
Okay.
But I think that's everything from me today. I will work with Beth on the issues surrounding the Nolensville question. So
Good.
It'd be nice if they can all agree on that issue, but sometimes those things can't be agreed to. Okay, any other business? Seeing none, I declare the meeting adjourned, and we will reconvene on the 16th at 4.
Thank you all.
All right. All right.
Bye.
thank you.